Welcome back to Everything from Nothing, Ireland's greatest show, according to scientists. We did not say that. Scientists did. If anyone would like to help us out by donating, you can click the Acast supporter link in the description of this episode and every episode. You can donate any amount you want, and all the donations will go back into the podcast, into the equipment, and so on and so forth. We want to do loads of things. We have loads of ideas, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, again, the link is in the description. You can donate however amount you want. Over to the episode. It's just like...
And you said that you... Sorry, I didn't mean...
No, go on. It happens all the time.
Like, I know,
not new here.
I know. But I just wanted to get it in before we finish.
No, you're
that,
okay.
You had said about doing retreats and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, would that be on your land?
I would love to,
Yeah.
Yeah, like I always thought when I was going to move on, in my head, the dream, I'll get some land and I'll set up a little healing centre and do some retreats. And, and I remember thinking, like you'll do it straight away. And then when I moved on there, it was like, no, like actually I have to be here alone. And the land, it was like the land was speaking to me, it was like, no, don't bring on loads of animals yet. The whole place was rewilding, and I think it was important for me to just be there alone first. And without even bringing loads of animals on, because I didn't want all the little trees that were starting to grow, to be eaten again. And so now, I'd like to kind of start doing like little retreats.
Has it rewilded? Is it completely kind of...
It's wild.
Oh, is it lovely?
It's beautiful, yeah.
Welcome back to Everything from Nothing, Ireland's most saturated show. It's saturated outside, isn't
raining,
it?
Yeah, it's rotten.
It's
Hey, John, turn off that telly.
Why?
Because you keep looking at it.
We talked about it.
Huh?
You really hypnotised from it before.
I was looking at the rain out the window.
Yeah, okay. Right, go on.
But now you can't stop looking at it because you just keep talking about it. It's like,
No.
So it is raining out.
Just draw a stickman version B.
Yeah, that's a good idea. What were you saying anyway?
It's still hypnotising.
I was just looking at I wasn't looking at the telly, I was looking at the heating. Medleys have their heating on. That's what I was about. Until I was so rudely interrupted. They have a condenser boiler, which is quite fancy compared to our one.
Join us for another update on Hugh's neighbours' heating.
Yeah. That's funny.
Being flahulak with the oil, making us all jealous who can't afford it. Down to the last dribble.
And we're also joined by a guest who is Jen. And I actually don't know what your short name... I've known you for years. I don't know what...
or my real name is.
Yeah.
I barely do at this stage. Like,
okay, yeah. Do you want to say...
Like my second name.
Like, yeah. Like
Ryan.
What? Ryan. No way.
I don't really associate with that side of the family anymore. So,
but Jen is. I always sound stupid. Yeah. It's short for Jennifer.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Okay. Short for John.
Oh, you didn't know what it was the first name.
Jennifer.
I never asked because I just assumed I was right, but then I thought, well, if I introduce you as Jennifer, then that might be. But no one. Does anyone ever call you that?
It's funny. Like my mom, when she's angry with me, sometimes will call me Jennifer. Yeah. But I have all my like Tipperary friends from like back in the day. When I was in school, all my Thurles, like upper church kind of friends would have called me like Jenny. Like
Jenny.
Cool.
Like Jenny from the block. Are you
then
still
there was
like
a
when
girl
you
in
come
school
home?
and I didn't like her. She was called Jenny, and I was like, so I just kept then introducing myself as Jen.
Yeah.
Well, all my
Jenny
older friends.
Jen suits you. Like even Jennifer is like Jen is the only thing. Jen suits you. I'm not sure about you.
I know two songs called Jennifer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
2 songs.
So you've got like Donovan's Jennifer, Juniper, that one.
Yeah.
And then I had friends.
What's it?
Jennifer Juniper.
Donovan.
Oh, I love Juniper.
Yeah.
And my friends in England, I think I have it on a disc or a record in that. They had a song called Jenny Fur. So it was like, the word was broke up in two, and it was
like fur.
Like fur babies.
Yeah. Jenny Fur was the song.
Yeah.
I actually saw like the Celtic name. I changed my Instagram name to Shanna Fair recently.
What does that mean?
That's Jennifer. But
Oh, right,
But it's
okay.
white wave, it means as well.
Oh, it's very
White
nice
wave.
sounding.
That's
nice, isn't it?
class.
Shanna Fair.
Shanna Fair.
Yeah, I like that.
So that's what Jennifer means, is white wave.
Yeah.
Class.
That's a really cool
It's much nicer than
Isn't it
Jennifer,
nice?
yeah.
I feel
I
like
was-
if we just call you White Wave, that's nice as well.
Yeah.
That's
That could be
cool.
your Indian name.
Yeah.
Native American Indian
Not
name.
Indian.
Because
yeah.
I was on holidays, like, you know, and I was writing in my journal, and I was just on holidays by myself, like on the beach this day out by myself, and I was looking at the waves, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, you know, I want to change my Instagram name to like my name.
Yeah.
But I didn't
Yeah.
actually want it to be Jennifer because of that weird attachment of like my
Yeah.
mom giving out to me, you know. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, Shanna Fair, and those waves, and yeah, it was all very synchronistic.
It does. It's weird how like we have like these triggers like you with that name. But even if I never really had that with the name, everyone would just call me the same name as I would now. When I meet people, like you know what you're talking about, when you meet those people, it just triggers you back to different place. Like I feel like I've evolved and done all this like hard work processing my emotions and all this, and then I meet someone and I'm just like back there again, and it's really
You turn into a bratty teenager.
yeah, and start blaring Nirvana to my eardrums burst.
Yeah.
And I can,
I do that at home, like, you know, I'll go home and me and my mom will be hanging out, and then it takes like 10 minutes before I'm like throwing my jacket around the place, and I'd be giving out to her for like cleaning up after me. I'm like, Dawn, I'm an adult, like stop cleaning up after me. And then I just throw shit everywhere. Like,
yeah.
you go right into
That's
that.
funny. So yeah, you're living in a yurt now, away from home, and you're probably throwing stuff around your own home now, which is
Pretty messy.
Yeah.
If my mommy saw it, she'd be
What's
mad.
the
Really?
yurt like? How big is Yurt?
Well, my one is 18 foot, which
Okay.
I didn't really know what that was when somebody said that to me on the
Okay.
phone.
18 foot wide by wide. Like, is it? It's a circular
Yeah,
shape, is
it's
it?
a circle shape.
What's that in meters?
I think it's like, I'm really bad.
it's like 3 foot in a meter, isn't it? So like
Yeah.
so it's
it
like
like
6 meters, is there? Something?
9, I don't
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, about 6, 7 meters.
Yeah, about
I'm
6.
so
Yeah.
bad with
Yeah,
that.
about 6 meters. Yeah, I think.
It's like
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
kind of.
I think it is like 6,
Um,
7
that
meters.
counter.
Yeah.
Okay, what's
6, 7
in it? Just all one room, is it?
Yeah, so it's
Do you
made
have a
out of like.
bathroom?
Huh?
Do you have a bathroom in there?
No. I have a little compost loo like further down the land.
Lovely.
Yeah. And
So every time you have
my
to go
mother
to the
doesn't
loo, every time you need wee-wees, you have to go down
well,
there.
like for the wee wees, I kind of go outside,
yeah.
and then because like I want to you get a little separator thing that you put on your toilet seat.
Yeah.
If my mother listens, she'll love this conversation because
I'm
Fabulous.
fascinated by this kind of thing because
Fabulous.
it's always a big barrier for me for like camping and shit
Weeds
like
and
that.
poos.
Like,
I
yeah.
have weed
Like, this is
outside
posh.
since I
Like
was
this
6,
is actually posher, do you know, than actual camping. It's like
Yeah,
camping.
yeah.
Because you get to like my compost loo does have a toilet seat, and you've got a lovely view.
But
like,
it's when
Yeah,
you step
yeah.
down the land, like that,
yeah, it's a bit far,
You got
'cause
to put
I'm-
your wellies on. And,
I should have put it closer. See, my yurt was down the land,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I moved it. So I moved it in October.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a bit further away from the
So what
toilet.
do you do if you need a piss in the night?
I have a little bucket.
Oh,
At the odd time I kicked over like you.
Hey, when I do you know when I went camping, should I do that into like? Well, no, I don't know. Actually, it doesn't matter. But wait, just in case anyone listening, can you explain what a yurt is? In case
Yeah,
anyone doesn't
before
know
we
what.
start.
sorry, I
about
got
P's and Q's.
sidetracked
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the toilet thing.
I know it's
Yeah.
quite. I find it fascinating too. So a yurt is like a round structure. The Mongolians like lived in yurts,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's made out of wood and like this fabric.
yeah,
And it's like canvas. You know, it's not like tent, not like you go camping, but it's a thicker
yeah.
kind of canvas.
It's heavy duty.
Yeah.
yeah.
So the one I have is like hazel poles from the forest in County Clare. Actually, the guy that
Oh,
made
wow.
it, he picked the poles from County Clare, which was kind of awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so it's all then natural wood, and then the canvas. So the canvas goes around it. So like the walls kind of. They almost open out, so there's like two
Yeah.
parts. So you put it up in like a day, you know. You'd put up the walls, and then you'll put up the poles, and there's a circle bit up top, and that's got little holes in it. So all the roof poles will kind of stick in there, and then you wrap the canvas around the wall and the roof. But then I have insulation, and that's kind of what keeps it warm.
Okay. And is
What's the insulation made of?
You could do like sheep's wool, or else you could do like the one I have is like this space age. It's all a silver thick foil. It's like quilted foil,
Oh, lovely.
and it's actually really good
Yeah.
because it kind of. Yeah, I was talking to someone and he said sheep's wool is good, but he said this stuff is even better, you know.
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
stove as well. The stove, obviously.
That's what I was going to ask, like heating up the place. Is it like,
Don't have to
it's
worry
not
about
like
the
a,
oil.
yeah, there's no, it's the best system. It's not like a teepee. There's no like hole in the roof or anything like that. How?
Yeah, no, it is a bit like that though. When you look up, there is a clear kind of plastic
Okay.
where
is
there
there?
could have been a hole. Like a lot in Mongolia and stuff, they sometimes do open that piece.
Yeah.
But in
Yeah.
Ireland, you just wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
You'd be getting
And you
rained
have a
on.
stove inside it, have you?
And I have a stove. So, but yeah, the stovepipe does go up through a hole
Okay.
in the roof,
Yeah.
and then that
Oh, that's
kind of
cool.
pipe keeps it warm. That's like an extra radiator, you know. what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So it is a warm place to live.
It's so warm, like
Lovely.
it's so cozy. It's the
What do you do
warmer-
in weather like this? Like, does it,
Yeah,
like, is it a bit rickety?
yeah. It is a bit. It shakes and rattles.
It's
and
depressing,
rolls.
like, or whatever.
No, it's like the opposite of depressing.
Yeah, I
fucking love it. Sorry, was I
my
cursing?
favorite.
You
No,
like
you're
me?
allowed
can
to curse.
curse, yeah.
5 times if you count.
Yeah.
But like my favorite thing about camping is when it's lashing like that. There's
it's
nothing
so
more comfortable
good.
than the sound of like I've been in camping before where I know if my body wasn't in here now it would be taken away, and it makes me sleep so well. Like I love it. Like
It's really grounding. Like it
Yeah.
is definitely the lack of electricity and stuff around you, and when it's windy. I mean, I was saying to Haley earlier, I start dancing. You know.
yeah.
Yeah, like I used to dance with people out, you know, in clubs and stuff, and now I find that really awkward, and I actually I've got really bad at that, you know.
Yeah.
But like I love dancing in the yurt on my own when the weather gets a bit wild.
That's class. Yeah.
It's good.
I just can't. To me, it's, I get the idea of it, and like we did seen it, like I did the Trans-Mongolian trains. I went across and saw, like, you can see them, like they're all over the place. The yachts, like people packing them up and like in different stages of like camping and shit. And I'd be looking out the window thinking, how do they do that? Like, how would you live like that? Because the weather can get pretty grim.
And I think
There
over
as
there,
well,
I
like,
mean, I
it's-
suppose it probably doesn't get as damp, but it would be fucking cold over there.
It's
like,
freezing, yeah, and the wind can come across and stuff. Like, it's
Yeah.
nuts. Like, we were traveling through in June, end of May, and it was still pretty wild then.
Like I did have a disaster happen last year. Like it was a bit scary. I was in the yurt, and it was when I first moved onto my land. So the yurt was put up, but it was put up a bit dodgy, and the roof was kind of slanted. And I remember being like, "This roof doesn't look right," you know. But the guy to put it up, he was like, "No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine." And then a storm came, and like it's just, and it wasn't tied down properly. So it's really important for the ropes to be staked into the ground as well, and that wasn't done. Like they were pulled down and tied, but they weren't staked into the ground. So actually, the wind did just kind of lift the roof, and it got really bad. And I remember being like, "Okay, I have to get out of here." And I got my cats, and I was putting them into the cat carriers and the dog, you know. And then like it's wild weather. But so yeah, I had to kind of just get out of there, and it did actually. The roof collapsed. Like I came back the next day, and I was like, "Oh no!" And everything was flooded. My mattress was ruined, and I had just moved in, like not long, you know, or I just moved all my stuff in, and so yeah, that was a little bit like, oh fuck. But then, like putting it back together, it was a good lesson because it actually showed me, okay, this needs to be this way, and you know,
It's interesting as well, like that type of experience. Like, you know, we, like growing up in Ireland, like in this day and age or whatever, like for a long time there's not really any sense of like, you know, if you think of like there's like shacks made out of galvanized in like places like Africa, and these places, like if a bit of wind comes, that's the night that they're dealing with. Like it's a very like rare experience to like have to deal with that, like just at night time, and then this big wind comes and now your whole house is being taken apart.
and you have a relationship with the wind then. You're like, come on, like please don't fuck me up.
I've
Like,
a- Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like
I have a relationship with the wind as well.
What is it?
It was
Don't
a
see
big
each other.
wind, probably the same wind you're talking about, and the slates blew off the house across the road and through my roof and into the top bedroom.
into your bedroom.
Yeah.
No
You've
way.
seen it, like it's mad. It's like
And
I see
the water just pissed in, and I just thought, like, be grateful for the back bedroom because that's dry.
Yeah.
That's it. Throw in a bit of gratitude there, so
yeah.
like it doesn't.
But like you do appreciate being warm and dry.
Yeah,
I
totally.
always
Especially in
appreciate
something like
being
that.
warm and dry.
Yeah.
You-
Because that's how much like being outside in this kind of weather, living outside in this kind of weather would be like a fucking horror to me.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I've changed my relation. Like when I lived in Dublin, when it would rain, I used to just be like, "This is fucking like
Yeah,
it's
I like that.
horrible."
Yeah.
and I would just get so angry with the rain. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? and everybody else, like, and everybody hated each other in the city when it was raining. But here, it's like, since I started living in the yurt, it's like I have a totally different relationship with the weather, and now I have like my snow pants, I have the gear, like, and I'm just outside all the time. And I kind of see the yurt during the day, even if it's bad weather, I'll still go outside, which I wouldn't have done before, you know, because I see it as like a shelter, and it's really special at nighttime in there. Like, nighttime is. I want people to come and be there at nighttime to experience it in the wild weather, and I think that's like.
You've lots of friends living with you too, don't you? Lots of like
furry
furry friends.
Yeah, the fam.
How many do you have, and how are they?
Yeah, they're amazing. They're my everything. Like, I used to have like 5 cats, and then I had like 3 years of like losses with my cats. Which was and the cats are like, you know, they were my babies. Like, you know, when you don't have kids, like, your animals are like everything to you. Yeah. And
even when you have kids.
And even when you have kids.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. You're probably like, oh, come and give me the cats. Like, But they're so healing, aren't they? It was really hard because the first one, I actually dedicated my life to like healing him that year. I actually stopped working for ages, and I was just like, I used to, he got me back into like trying to do energy healing on him and stuff like that. And I was always into shamanic stuff. And that cat kind of brought me back down that path of like doing that work again. It was like I was coming away from my relationship because my relationship was toxic. And I just spent all this time with this cat. And it really brought me into that world, you know. And then he eventually died in my arms. Like, it was really sad. And then after that, I went, okay, I actually want to change my life. I'm going to buy a yurt, leave this relationship. Like, you know, it was like, it happened after his death, kind of. I'm going to move to East Clare.
Did you find any release when the cat died, like, as in that?
Yeah, his suffering. His suffering was over.
You'd be worrying, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? That's what I think, because I had 2 dogs that died as well, and I wouldn't sleep worrying about them. And then when they die, you kind of go, well, at least they're free.
They're at peace, like, totally. And like, I think, and I realised how like better that was then, because then the year later I moved to East Clare, and I was living there a few months, and my cat, who I've had for like 10 years, disappeared. And that was just heartbreaking. Like,
that's worse than death, I think.
That was just so much worse than death.
What's like, going on, like.
And and I think I thought the death was bad, but then when this happened, I was like, no, this is the worst thing ever. And I was out like morning, noon and night looking for him, and then I moved my yurt, because where I was living there was like not great circumstances with the landlord there at that place where I had my yurt. It was in like a little foresty area on a piece of land, and then I moved it, and then eventually found my land. But when I moved onto my land, I was there a couple of months, and my other cat went missing. And she's like the mama cat of who I have now, Timmy, and they were always together, you know, so I know that something actually happened to her, because she would never leave him. Like, we were like a little family. And it was amazing having like all the cats in the yurt. Like, when I moved into the yurt, I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Like, having this many animals in this one circle.
But that's kind of what they're for, isn't it? Like, to allow the animals sort of in, and like breathing space and stuff like that. Like, when animals get sick in Mongolia and that, you can bring them into the... Yeah,
they're like sort of a part of nature. It's not like this human exclusive sort of...
Exactly.
That's what I love about it, like what you said, because it's like they're just part of nature. And like, you know, if a dog is in a house or something and they have to sit on the ground, like everything is kind of floor based in a yurt. So we're all the same. You know, because I feel sorry for my dog when he comes to other people's houses sometimes, and he's like, what do you mean I have to sit there? Like, I feel bad.
Because why? He'd jump up on the bed or wherever. Wherever you'd go. Like.
He has a bed. Like, he's got a double bed mattress on the ground, because that's actually the couch. I've got a double bed mattress with loads of cushions and fabric, you know, and that's the couch. And then my bed is raised up a bit, but he goes between the two. So
do you ever have anyone call visit in the middle of the night, like a rat or a cat? Or
I have a fox and a pine marten at the moment. The fox nearly came in one night. Well, the pine marten was kind of not in the yurt as such, because I think there's too many animals in the yurt. So But the fox, like, it was beautiful. I went out one night and I thought it was the dog. There was another dog like on the land, and I thought it was one of the other dogs. And I was like putting up one of the wall hangings, you know, and I felt this like nose from outside the yurt, because you know the canvas, and I was like, oh, that must be one of the dogs. And I just went out
to be a bear. Imagine that.
Yeah,
outside the yurt.
In Clare, yeah.
And I looked out and it's this huge fox, like.
That's mad.
And oh my God, it was beautiful. And it walked like, I kind of got a fright first, you know, because it was so big and I wasn't expecting to see it. And then I kind of went around and looked and it just stopped eating. It was eating actually the dog food that I stupidly had left outside.
No way.
And then it was looking at me and then it went back to eating, didn't move. And then it came round to where I was standing and started to make its way up onto my porch. And then I was like, oh my God, is this actually happening? And then I did jump back in and I got a bit scared because,
There's loads of foxes where my sister lives in South London. The foxes are just everywhere, all in the daytime and stuff. And she sent me this video once. It was like a Sunday afternoon and there was 3 or 4 of them in the garden kicking a ball around.
No way.
No kidding.
Oh
The
my
neighbour's
God.
football had come in or somewhere around the back and there was like a regular black and white football in the garden.
Oh, wow.
And the foxes were literally kicking it
playing
to
it.
each other. Yeah.
That's
And she
class.
sent me the video.
And they
of it.
love hanging out with each other as well.
Yeah.
Like
There's foxes under my brother's house. I'd often walking out to drive and you see the fox going in. And it's kind of his house is raised up.
Oh,
And he'd be in the town as well. Like. Yeah, I see them up by
they
the
definitely live
park
like
and
under
everything.
the earth. They'd be under the earth, and you definitely hear a few bodies under there at night time sometimes.
That's cool. But you as well, you know, there's loads of.
I
I've seen.
did a fair fucking play to you. I could not fucking deal with that at all.
I think, you see, I kind of grew up a bit like that though. Like I grew up on a farm and I had no brothers and sisters. And in the middle of the night, I didn't like sleeping. I found it scary to be in the house at nighttime because the house was haunted. And
Was
I
it?
used to see and feel things all
Did
the
you?
time. Yeah, and I just was sensitive to that kind
Is
of
this
stuff.
the house in
as a kid.
Tipperary? Sorry.
Yeah, where I
okay.
grew up.
What did you see?
I saw kind of things. One time my mom was walking up the stairs and I saw all these hands and just coming into her, like, you know, and that's one of those
mad.
things that I really remember because
What did
Yeah,
you
to be fair, I'd probably live in a year outside if I'd experienced that. That's like,
what age were you?
I don't know, I'd say I was about 7, but I was told, you know, I had a fever and it wasn't real and
Me and Owen,
all of this.
Like,
But then I'd wake up and I kind of see something, but it would be gone. You know, that kind of thing in my sleep when I was a kid. But then I just get up and I go and sleep outside in the hay shed with all the dogs.
No
We'd
way.
like 6 German Shepherds and, you know, a mix of dogs. Like, yeah.
That's
So-
mad. I was gonna ask, like, maybe there's something to do with that, like, because why? Yeah, I seen like you were saying about the pine marten as well. Like, I've seen like there's all sorts of animals you attract, and I don't think it's just the yurt. Like, I'd say if you were anywhere, you would. Like you were saying with the barn. Like, why? I don't know what it is. Like, what do you think? Like, animals seem to be like easily attracted to you. I see you putting up things
Yeah,
with
not
birds.
so much humans.
Yeah, probably better off, to be honest.
Yeah,
like,
I'd say
that's probably
so.
a blessing. I'd rather, one than the other. But yeah, why do you think that is? Is there any, like, do you feel like that? Do you feel
Yeah.
like you do?
I do a bit. I think
Yeah.
I feel much more comfortable in the animal world. Like
Yeah.
I really do love some humans.
But
But like,
humans are difficult to
you know,
love.
they're hard going.
Yeah, they're very difficult to
You
love.
know,
Yeah.
and even when I think I'm being an asshole, like I actually
Yeah.
do go and watch the animals. And I'm like, how can I be
Yeah.
a better person? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, if I find my humanness is coming out too much.
birds do
you
that
know?
for me. Like,
Birds,
if I
unbelievable, like,
if I
yeah.
get too caught in my head, or like getting lost in the sort of, like, do you know, the horizontal plane,
Mm-hmm.
this thing, like this, the politics and life of blah 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 blah, and then I'll just like see the birds and be like, that bird can't even. And do you know the thing is, I'd say it can't comprehend these thoughts, but actually it probably can. But it's probably just superseded. There's nonsense. Like, just be like, why? Like, it's just
Yeah.
flying. Like, and I see that, and then I feel
find the
free.
birds amazing. For
Yeah,
that.
it makes me
Yeah.
feel free, like on the inside, in my head is still.
Yeah.
I had a robin get aggressive with me a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Robin off.
Yeah, I did.
How'd you manage
I
that?
was I had to cut back ivy because the neighbours were complaining about it.
Oh, I have to do that
and
soon.
yeah, so yeah, he got like really aggressive. This robin, he just kind of flew at me.
Did he?
Yeah, I was really impressed with him, and then I just thought it's my imagination for a minute, but then he just landed right by me and he was puffed up like
That's
this.
mad.
Wow.
I think, is that what they do when they fancy you? I think don't they like? I think he fancied you.
No.
Could be. I
Like
don't know.
bird, like the bird in the bird world when they puff off, it means they like
Yeah,
you.
I did.
I think-
Yeah, that's a thing as well.
And I got
She
attacked
liked
by a crow when I was a kid.
Oh, you see, like that. I did have a fear of birds when I was really young.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we were somewhere like in the Isle of Man or somewhere with my parents when I was young, and there was a big bird and just opened its
Wow.
wings, you know, like this. around me.
Yeah, jeez.
And I was fearful, like, of birds for a while. Like, I don't like wings too close to my face. That's
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, I was in Malawi and
Sorry about
was
that.
it Malawi?
I know. Where is Malawi?
It was, in Africa.
Okay.
And it's like pitch black outside, and I'd gone out to the. I come from like the sort of communal area of the place I was staying, like up towards the bedroom places. Like they were all like huts outside and stuff. And I was over by the sinks, and it's just perfectly out in the open. And there was a couple of light bulbs, and I was brushing my teeth, and I heard something behind me, like. And I turned around, and this moth, the size of my fucking head, slammed into my face.
They're massive. Oh yeah, they're weird.
That a really big one.
Yeah, massive. It was
like they are that size.
The size of my face.
Yeah,
slammed into my
it's
face.
crazy.
I fucking absolutely shit my pants. Apparently, I screamed because people came running up from the communal area. I lost a shoe. I stepped out of my flip flop. That's how rapidly I was going, and I was like waving my arms around. That whole fucking night, I kept waking up going.
Is there something in front of me?
That's mad. Yeah, it's mad seeing them that size. They're like something out of fairyland thing.
Wow,
They're
I've
crazy.
never seen a moth that size.
I've only seen
Yeah, you don't want to. It was, and the weight of it, like the force of it, it was like, ugh.
We don't know, like we have it easy over here though. With
Definitely.
like you know,
Definitely.
scary creatures like.
Yeah. Cows though, like are terrifying.
I've got a little bit
When they
more
come at
as
your
I got
face.
older because I got chased recently.
Did you?
Oh really?
Well, because like because I grew up
By
with
a
cows.
cow?
Yeah,
Were you
by a
tempted to
fucking
be-
herd of them. Like,
Were you going to be a
mad.
farmer? No.
I loved the farm, like growing up, yeah. But like, my dad was a pretty shit farmer, but like, we had the crack on the farm. You know what I
cool.
mean? We kind of just had the crack. Like, I remember him kind of, teaching me how to lie down with the cows one day, and he was like, "Yeah,
That's
just lie
cool.
down with the cows, and they'll come in, and they would walk in towards you in a circle."
Lovely.
And as a kid, I thought this was great, like,
Yeah.
and then they kind of, they do
Start
that smell, and
breathing.
they breathe all over
That's
you.
cool.
And then they like step back a bit like that.
Yeah, so I thought this was so cool, and then I told this girl in school because I didn't really have many friends because I kind of had a weird human thing when I was in school. I was different to the other kids, and so finally I had a friend and I brought her home, and
That's mad,
I was
yeah.
like, I can't wait to show her this trick,
Yeah.
And I brought her into the field to show her this, and yeah, no, she wasn't impressed.
She was freaked out, was she?
Screamed,
That's
yeah.
mad. You know,
And then I wasn't.
I used to go,
happy
like-
after that, like it's a lot of bullying after that.
yeah. I was never actually afraid. Like I did have friends though that were really afraid of cows. I had one not even that long ago. When things, life gets you down and things get a bit much, people might have somewhere to go. I go to the cattle mart, like, because we live across from a cattle mart, so I'd go to the cattle mart when I feel sad because it was away from everyone. And
Are you ever worried that somebody might sell you there?
yeah, weird. Does anyone buy a crying child? Going, but yeah, crying child probably could be expensive. I don't know. But yeah, like I go over there, and this one time, this wasn't even that long ago, because it's just like I like going through the cornfields and stuff. Even now, like when I'm sad, I like crying on the crops. I went
Don't
to
make people feel sorry for you.
Yeah, you can imagine him, the Irish child
Crying.
in the crops.
Crying on the crops, crying in the cattle mart. Never stop swinging.
No, the salt is good for the crops.
Salt is good for the crops.
So, yeah, but anyway, this was one of the most beautiful experiences I ever had with a cow. It wasn't that long ago.
Oh my God, no. Fuck, you'll get us sued.
What the hell? What the hell?
Don't be
What the
doing.
hell? You're sick.
I told you got away with that. There was no cameras
You're
there.
absolutely sick.
There was no cameras there. I will edit that bit
I
out.
was bawling, crying. No one, not my
We'll edit that
friends,
bit out.
not my family came, and a cow came across the field from, like, they'd normally be used to people in Catmere. This one cow came over and just like, I don't know what, like, knew I was crying and was putting its head up to me. And then all the other cows,
They're so
it
nurturing,
was
like,
really
And
nice.
Jody
they are
said,
so nurturing
Wow.
though.
would you give it over? Yeah, we don't like, you don't know how well off you are.
Do you know what he said? Why do we always call the she's he? It's such an Irish thing as well.
Why is it?
Hugh said, what? You know what he said? It was a she.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
a sheep.
That's
You're
true,
right.
actually.
Well, it wasn't sure.
Yeah,
It was fluid.
yeah.
Yeah, like the cow, they are so nurturing though. Like, do you know? I mean, I
Yeah,
only got
it was
chased
really
because
nice.
it was like, calving season. I mean, there was calves because the cows broke into my field recently, and I
yeah.
mean, they were down around my yurt. I was like, oh, they're going to flatten everything, So I was trying to shoo them out, and I was like, oh, they're lovely though. I was kind of liking it as well.
Yeah.
And then just one of them, oh no, it was the dog. So my dog came like as we were shooing them out. So I think it was the dog more so they were chasing.
Yeah.
But then he starts running towards me and I'm like, fuck off, Leo. You know what I mean?
That's
Don't come towards me. And then the cows
yeah.
came and I just had to leap over and jump into a load of briars.
Yeah.
So I was like, I used to always get on with cows. It's funny, you know, growing up in a farm and that never happened. And then suddenly,
I
Yeah.
want to just go back to the thing where you said your friend screamed.
oh yeah, she
What?
completely freaked out. Like, didn't see the beautiful side of lying in a
But
field with cows.
that's a very excessive reaction, isn't it?
I don't know. Like, I
Child. But
cows
she
are-
was so scared
cows-
of dogs as well. Like, you know, it's
If cows
kinda,
wanted to hurt, if cows run at you, like, you could die.
But they were
Yeah, but they
walking
were-
slowly.
exactly.
No, I know, but I think what I'm saying is that I had lots of friends who were really afraid of them, and I always understood it because there are like I know it's a joke
Huge
that cows are
animals.
the only thing we have. People have got trampled by cows.
Yeah, it's a
like
thing.
they will if they run at you, and I've got chased by cows, and we do it. The reason we enjoyed it, we didn't go getting chased off little puppies because why? We get chased off cows knowing that it was fun because
And dangerous.
because they're dangerous. Like they can like. So I understand if people are afraid.
I just
of them,
always
like.
think it's such an interesting insight into like childhood here.
But it is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
then
Like, we
I
live
just
in
started telling people like
Tipperary,
from
yeah.
town then.
yeah.
I was like, you know, I got
Yeah.
called a smelly farmer girl like after this. And it
Really?
Was, oh yeah, like the bullying in school.
That's mad.
Just
People
from,
are cruel,
just
aren't
from
they?
growing up on a farm and everything back then those days. And like it wasn't that long ago. you know
Loads
what
of
I mean?
people
Yeah.
grow up on farms here as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Most of them probably did too. But
That's
yeah, I
mad.
used to pretend I was from Nina, like I wasn't.
That's mad. If it like that's what you should, you know, like.
And now it's cool to be a farmer. Suddenly,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
It's definitely cooler
But-
to be a farmer than from Nina. No offense, like a farmer.
Definitely. Farmer Joe any day.
I don't know.
I like
yeah.
Nina.
Yeah, I like Nina too.
My mom lives in
No,
Nina.
I do
Yeah.
love Nina. So quick
I had awful
joke.
experiences in Nina school though.
Really?
Oh,
Ugh, it was like the worst place ever.
Yeah, it's definitely. It's probably a lot of those, like towns in Tipperary. I'd say we experienced a sort of similar thing, like Turles, Nina, like just like you have like the same culture, like the farmers, the herders, and all that kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
There's similar problems in the mental health services in both regions as well.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'd imagine.
Very much the
Yeah.
same.
What are the problems? What kind of problems are?
I
What is
don't
it?
really think it's a.
No, I
it's
don't
not
mean
something
like
I'm
people-
comfortable sharing.
Oh, yeah,
but
no,
it's-
not
they're
clients,
very
but,
similar, like compared to like stuff you'd get, like the predominance of things that you get in Limerick or Galway,
Okay.
or
Like the energy of it
Leith and
early
things
and-
like that.
Are we like less druggy or more druggy?
Less
or
druggy.
I'm not gonna.
Oh, you can't say.
For small
Yeah.
towns
Yeah.
though, like you get Turles and Nina have always felt that very similar
Yeah,
kind of energy. Like
yeah.
there's
Even
a
like Ross
heaviness,
Raid
like-
or something about those
Yeah.
Tipperary towns. Anyway, like you mentioned about shamanism earlier. You said you were
Mm.
practicing it. What is shamanism? Can you explain?
Well, I guess it's kind of living really in tow with like the natural world, you know.
Yeah.
Like if you saw my stories yesterday, like you don't need to pay $3,000 for a fancy course to learn about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I really
'Cause
feel
essentially-
like a lot of shamanic studies have been what's the word? Capitalized.
Capitalized. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think people,
Like
What kind of stuff is it? Yeah.
well, like just what we do though, you know, there's been fancy terms put on things all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, I was like, you know, because I don't even like saying that sometimes, but I like to say I live a shamanic life. You know what I mean? Because I want to get up in the mornings, like when I can and listen to the birds and hear what
Yeah.
messages I get from them. And so it is, you know, being with the elements and the animals and just the natural world and communing with it. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, just like I would do shamanic drum journeys myself. Like I like to do these things alone. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
It's funny that you said like about like you know you were saying there about like feeling like you know you feel weird even saying it and you don't even like saying it, like that's unfortunate because like you know there's lots of stuff in the community, like nice things, like I always say there's these words that society has nearly sort of mocked and
Yeah.
felt weird, like shamanism, or the biggest one that everyone's scared of is like love, but like you know there's
That's
words
a-
like that people are like whoa,
Filthy.
you know,
We'll
like
edit that bit out.
Filthy.
yeah. But essentially all like shamanism is it's a very old ancient practice,
Yeah.
and it's just about like working with the land and like connecting the sort of inner self
Like
with the
the
outer
laws of
self.
nature,
and,
you know.
yeah
How-
exactly. It's
How did you
it's
get
very
into
natural.
that shamanic
I
thing?
don't think I got
Or-
into. I think it was like
This
from when
newfangled thing.
Yeah, I think it was almost like I kind of found out about it, and then I was like, sure, that's me all over.
perfect,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
yeah.
Like just the
You
way
resonated
I was.
with
It
it more.
resonated with me
It's
so
become
much.
like really bandwagony in the way that
Yeah.
it's done now, and it is like you
Yeah.
said, it's like
Yeah.
there's nothing like you know, it is just going back to absolute basics.
It's
like
just
it
going
shouldn't
back
even
to
be
like the natural, the way people were.
living by like rhythms and things like that. And
when they didn't have watches and fancy tech stuff.
Which is the
isn't it?
irony in it becoming like so capitalized and like
I know, right?
so ironic.
I'm going to make a shamanic app.
That you can only do like you can only do it if you're rich and like
those entrepreneurs that makes millions.
Teach these people how to get back to nature.
Well, like, that was the thing, you know. I was kind of going, I want to live in a yurt. I want to really live that life. Like by myself last year, like I really kind of did disconnect from people a lot.
I love doing that.
That's just great. I mean, the hard part is integrating back into people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have to do it too, like, you know, but it's hard.
It's when I first went away, like I went from the UK to Australia when I was in my early 20s, and I went just by myself.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you, I like within 2 days I was like, why is it taking me this long to do this? It's fucking amazing. And I didn't like...
It's so powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't speak to... Like, there was people around and stuff, but it was just like, I'm going to break the spell if I talk to somebody.
Yeah.
It is
what
like-
it does
is lovely,
for yourself is like... I don't know. I think I always saw the power in that because of how I grew up as well.
Yeah.
And I'd come in and I'd be telling, you know, oh yeah, the dogs were saying this and the dogs were saying, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh yeah, Jen, she's on one again, you know. But like, as an only child, you just talk to that. They think, oh yeah, you're just talking to the fairies that aren't there. Or you're just talking to the dogs. You don't really know what they're saying, but you do know what they're saying, and it's all there.
Yeah.
You know, and like we're growing like that, but we were just kind of programmed to kind of think that's weird. And then even the thing of like being a loner in school, like, oh my God, she's such a loner. Like I was that kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I loved being like that.
And
though,
like,
in school. Like
it's like, but I like this.
Yeah.
You know?
I loved being alone in my head, but I felt pressure. Like I was always making jokes that I didn't think were funny. I was always like I was part of like, because I loved on the
and now
inside
you
being
make jokes
alone.
that other people don't think are funny. But
That
you find hilarious.
This was very good. I think that by yourself, you did. That's very good. That was a good one. But like then I don't know. I realized like I did love it. There was like that sense of the first time you experience that for a long term, like you were saying, going to like England or like, you know, for a long term when you have that, it's like discovering another planet, like that you learned all like. There is like, because you're so lost in the world, there's all these things happening, and then you have that sense of like everything inside you is a total, like everything you thought you knew about the world is completely nearly mirrored or something.
Yeah.
Was the sensation I got. Like
you can become this powerhouse of like,
and you feel like exactly. You feel like, I don't know, a sensation that's I don't know what the word is. Not bigger than. Like it's definitely bigger than objects. It's like
everything slows down.
Yeah,
like it's just
that's
like
true.
a quietness, and it's just like everything slows down, and it's just
like the most beautiful meditation practice.
Yeah, it is
actually,
exactly.
You know,
yeah.
And I think it's really important for other human connection to be able to do that. Do you know, like it's not like I'd be saying, oh yeah, just don't hang out with anyone ever. You know what I mean? Because I actually do like people. Like I like the right people, but it makes you not. You know, because people are filling voids, aren't they, inside themselves all the time? Like even with, not even just with relationships, but friendships as well. Like they're always just filling voids, and that's just what's killing like humanity, really. Like,
do you know a really mad thing I learned though was I was actually filling a void in myself with that isolation and thinking
so that could be an escapism too.
Yeah, I fooled myself for a long time when I was younger that like this sort of sense, because I wasn't really doing any self-work, and I was just like, oh, I'm alone, and like, you know, I'm in my room, and I could be focused on myself and like, discovering stuff along the lines of spirituality and stuff like that. But I got really like, you know, like that the movie Into the Wild, I got really fascinated about the idea of like, just fuck society and gonna go off into the wild. And I was like that for years, and then it took me like about watching the movie about 30 times, like till I actually missed the point of the movie the whole time. Is that man died. The last thing he ever wrote was happiness is only real when shared. All of a sudden, after watching that movie 30 times, it clicked on me like, oh my God, this whole time I was pretending to be like this other thing. And you know, so now I'm trying to like, because now it's like trying to go between worlds, which I think is cool. Like what you're talking about is very important.
Because I did what you're talking about there too.
Yeah.
And that's a very different thing to what I did this last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was an escapist like thing.
Yeah.
You know? And like, and we've talked about that before, that we'd have a similar like escapist kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
personality, like an addictive.
Yeah,
escape.
yeah.
Like we'd be kind of, and I used to do that before, where I would just escape off into my own little head, and like, and it wasn't healthy, you know what I mean? And I'd be having like breakdowns and suffering from depression, and you know, it was, but then I could just go off like in my head somewhere and thinking, oh, this is fine, you know, but not reach out, not ask for the help, you know, when I really actually needed it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But this felt like a different thing. And
Yeah,
you know,
you can tell as well. There's just a totally different, cleaner sort of. There's more clarity around the energy of it when you're doing it. Like when you know, you're not just kidding yourself this time around. Like, yeah, no, that's cool.
That, like, what made you kind of finally get the Yurt and things like that? Because you mentioned that you were like saving for a long time. Like, what was it? An event that happened? I know you said about the relationship and the cat and everything, but like,
what led up to it?
yeah, like you still seem to have some sort of long-term goal towards it. Because you were saving
I was thinking about it, I think, for years and years and years. And I actually remember being like, I'm 41 now, and I remember being 30 and just being like, not happy at all, you know, hitting 30 thinking it was really old, like, and just like not ready to leave my 20s, and just had a total like meltdown, you know. And yeah, from 30 to 32 were really hard years, like, and I started having that like dark stuff come in again, like I started seeing things again on my wall, where like the bedroom I was living in, and this stuff that I kind of witnessed when I was a child, that was kind of happening again. So I was really like scared, you know. And the fantasy place that I'd go to, I used to sleep, like I had insomnia for ages, and because I was scared to sleep, because I actually thought something was going to get me in my sleep. And then
It was the same,
yeah, and I used to see this yurt. I used to see myself living on land.
No way.
In this yurt, like, and that was just my safe place. And I used
That's
to go
so
to
funny
it.
because that's when you get those places of desperation, and like it's almost like the conscious mind just shuts down because it can't take any more, and the unconscious mind can present you as something that is safety, that is security, that is something that's fitting to your soul and your spirit and your being. I think that stuff is mad.
It showed me, you know, because back then I just thought, oh, I'm so weak, I'm useless, I'm going through depression. And like, I was really living this double life, like, and then I was doing people's hair and I was working at festivals, not letting anyone know I was in this low state at all. And then I would be doing my clients' hair, and then sometimes they'd say, oh, can we book in for an hour afterwards just to do a bit of one-on-one therapy work? Like, because I would do that with them. And then me being able to help them was like, but I wasn't in the right space to be doing that with people.
Yeah.
But somehow that was me escaping from my own shit, you know what I mean?
I
help them. I think we've all been there, you know what I mean?
Do you have, like, when you're living in your yurt, do you have tasks and stuff to do during the day, like to keep you out of getting too into your head? You know, sometimes if you spend all your time reflecting on yourself, it gets very hard on your brain.
There's so much to do, Hugh. If my friend watches this, he'll be like,
well, go on,
always
what's it
giving
like?
out to me for that. He's like, did you do this today? And did you do that?
Is there loads of tasks?
He gives me a kick up the arse. There's so many tasks to do.
Like,
and
what kind of
I
stuff?
actually find that it keeps me more... Found when I was living in a house with my ex in Bundoran, I found like I was more going into my own head.
Okay, that's tough.
Whereas like in the yurt, like, I have to get up really early. I just wake up. There's no like lying in bed like I would have in the house, you know, because there's a big circle with the light shining in, and you hear the birds, so you hear them first thing, like they're right beside you.
So you can't give the day in bed.
You can't, like, it's a bad place for a hangover, you know what I mean? And then and that's like the morning, and then it's so beautiful outside, when like the view is so beautiful that I want to walk up to the top of the land. And so even just that much, doing that changes everything mentally, you know. And then I do write stuff down the night before that I just need to do in that day, a couple of little tasks like on the land, which I don't always get done.
It doesn't matter, but you have
really sure.
He's always say, you need to do more, but it's hard.
But it does help you, doesn't it? Those kind of tasks, like that's what I find anyway. Like if I have a list of things, even if I don't get them done, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it feels good to just write them down.
How often do you have to sort out the toilet?
Yeah, I'd like to not sort it out as often as I have, because at the moment there's like a long kind of buckety thing. It's longer than a bucket. Like it's not. It's much bigger than a bucket. But it fills up quick enough. So I need to come up with a bigger solution.
What do you do when it? Like, do you have to call somebody to come and get it?
Oh no, I do.
No.
Like when that's nearly full, like I'll shovel it out into a bigger container. And then that's going to be left there and that'll be covered. And then that poo will like compost basically over a year. And
Don't do that in England, do you? You're very English. Not very. That's why you don't know about.
But like I did, I'm sure it always sounds like that I like never fucking went out.
I'm only
and stuff as
joking.
a
It
kid,
doesn't.
but
It
it's
doesn't.
like,
I'm being
I worked with
facetious.
horses and stuff. I was always outside, but like that living
shoveling shit.
that living that way, like camping and shit. Like I would have been to festivals and stuff a lot.
Do you know I found that hard
But
though,
like-
Hayley? Like I found that so hard when I worked at festivals. Like doing the camping thing at festivals was fucking miserable, and like my back
it
would be
is
sore,
miserable.
and like
Yeah.
But this doesn't feel like that at all.
The mattress probably makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the stove.
I just like that. I really
Yeah,
struggle with
exactly.
just like not
Mattress.
being able to get up and go for a pee. Like the fact that it feels like a mission
Why
to go to
see
the toilet.
if I want to
is-
go for a pee at night time and I'm in there, like I have my little bucket. It's like in the olden days when they had
like in the
potty
50s and
things.
shit. And
Yeah,
They
like
have
you.
them under their beds or whatever.
Yeah.
It's basically like that. Like I got a bucket that's kind of at the end of my bed that I have to put there because sometimes
Yeah.
I've left it in the middle of the floor and kicked it over.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Like you would be, like you wouldn't like if you're living with no one else, you're on your own, you'd have no problem with peeing in the bucket late at night, like.
Yeah, no, but like
So like
but,
imagine how much nicer that is than going down the stairs or up.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
stairs
Having
and
to
all
turn
that.
on lights.
Yeah, the
and-
lights and the sort. You
Yeah.
know, I think you'd probably
Do you
prefer.
know they
it.
used to sell their piss in the old days? Did you know that?
I'd say they do that in East Clare. I mean, they're mad. They're mad for urine therapy in
for
East Clare.
Really?
tan and leather.
really drinking piss.
No, for tan and leather they used to sell
Oh,
it.
Hand
really?
and leather, all right.
Yeah, and that's where the
People drink piss in East Clare.
that's where the
They do.
expression
I don't
piss
personally.
poor comes from.
Haven't got quite to that stage yet.
That's mad.
And then where if you were even poorer than that, you wouldn't have a pot to piss in.
I
Is
can't
that where that
Hot
comes
to
from?
pissin', that's where that comes from.
Yeah, that's mad, man. Jesus, that's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, it's actually, I mean, my friend came down, like, you know, I hope Tracy won't mind me saying this, but my friend Tracy, and like our friend Tracy came down one time and, you know, we were sitting there and, yeah, and like, you know, first we started off the night where we'd have the bucket outside the door, just in the porch, and we'd each going out if we wanted to pee, you know.
Yeah.
And then we were like laughing and we were like, sure, it's grand. It's just the two of us. Like, we'll just do it in front of each other. It's grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it was actually lovely. It's not really bonding.
Yeah.
She was on one end of the yurt, like having a pee, and I'd be sitting on the mattress and we'd be
Yeah.
having a chat, you know?
I do that with my guy friends, but at least with
Yeah.
girls you can kind of stare in each other's eyes while you do it. But
Yeah,
like
pee
guys
parties.
find it so. I'd ask lads, can we stare at each other while we do it? Like, but standing up. Do you know, at least you're sitting down, you kind of have excuse to stare at each other. But I'd stare at some of the lads, and they won't like it. It make them uncomfortable.
Has he asked you that?
No, I never did.
No, because
Just imagine it.
I was looking at a camper lately, you know.
Oh,
It was like a really expensive camper, 77 grand, and I was looking around. It looked really fancy.
Nice.
But I just couldn't get my head around. Your man was showing it to me and saying he was the guy that was selling it. He goes, this and it's got that, and it goes, but you're shitting in a press, like. I just could not get my head around
that's a
that.
lot.
in a
There's
press,
that
yeah,
whole
that's
thing in
different.
America, van life, isn't there? Like hashtag van life, and people are living
Luxury,
van
luxury.
life and-
Yeah.
How nice
luxury.
was it?
I think that would be more disgusting even than like.
So
So you're
would
like
I.
a van in it's like.
Especially 77,000
That was
quid's
like
worth of
more
a
than
van.
my fucking
Have a
land, like,
deposit on a
Jesus.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could buy land for that. Exactly. Yeah.
And you're going to shit in a press.
In the press. That's
Is
a
it just like a
poetic way
press,
of.
or is there
Yeah.
actually a toilet in there?
It's probably like when like
It's a press.
cupboard.
you
The shit cupboard.
drawer.
And he didn't like it. I knew he didn't like me by the end of the conversation.
Because you said yeah.
Such a shit in the press
enough,
after
like-
spending all that money.
I would have to make a massive adjustment in my head. A lot of it is to do with the climate in this part of the world. Like, I find it much easier in warmer climates to kind of get my head around that shit.
Probably would.
But
Yeah.
I'm literally the kind of person, I walk into my house in the winter and every time I go, oh my God, it's so nice and warm in here. I love heating.
Yeah,
love
like I
the
think
central
it's because
heating
like
in my
we're used to it. But like I
Yeah.
find in the yurt, because the yurt gets like a sauna at night time. It gets so
Oh,
warm.
does it? Wow.
Yeah, and it's nice, healthy kind of warm because
Yeah.
it's not the radiant. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you can get
Yeah.
it really hot.
Lovely.
Like and then if you do go outside, you're already kind of roasting.
Yeah,
and
so
you're
does
like,
mine, yeah.
oh my
Yeah,
god,
yeah.
it feels amazing.
That's lovely,
You know,
yeah.
like.
Is it freezing in the morning when you get up?
The mornings, well, I put in a lot of kind of briquettes or turf at night time.
Okay, so it's still smouldering.
that
for the
kind of
morning.
keeps it. Yeah. But if you didn't have them, like, and it was just the wood, it would be cold. Yeah. And then I just cook on a little gas stove. Like I have a 1-ring like gas thing and a little grill in the yurt. So
Yeah.
it's pretty basic and it's been very simplistic for the last 3 years. But kind of have liked it like that for a while.
Yeah, I could do with that with the cooking. I can't bear cooking, so that's
Yeah, just a big pot of stuff. You
Do you
know,
have any do you have any human callers apart from the animals? Like would
Yeah.
they just randomers come up and go hello?
No, I don't like people randomly coming up. I mean, I have one or two people that they'll come across the fields, like the young fella across the field. He's like my little brother, and his older brother is like my brother too, and we've become super close.
That's cool.
Like it's really weird because we met and. Yeah, they're like the brothers that I always wanted, basically, in a weird way.
And did they just wander across?
Yeah, like they'll come across the field sometimes, like especially the young fella. He's like 13 now, and he'll come in on a Saturday with his friends and do things he shouldn't be, like, you know,
messing
like,
around.
his parents.
What do you like?
And he's very good, but like they looking at shit on their phones they shouldn't be looking at, and you know they're like typical teenagers, and like
Yeah. What do you like? So like like I'm not like like you've neighbors close by or anything like.
Yeah, there is, and like there's even just across the field, like they live kind of 2 fields over, and then there's another neighbor, and he's this amazing German guy, and his partner, and they have an off-grid setup that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's a genius. So it's great to like tap his brain, you know what I mean?
So like there's a sense of like
Community and support.
Yeah.
More so than anywhere I ever
That's
lived.
interesting.
Like I'm way up the hill and I'm kind of in the wilderness on the land, but like yesterday even I got some wood and the wood had to be dropped off lower down. Like actually it had to be dropped off of my neighbours because the hill is so high. And like the neighbour who's like 70 something came up with his tractor and drove it up for me. You know, like so there's a lovely feeling of
That's mad.
Community.
It's interesting that because I remember I was at I think it was a festival near Mullingar or something, and just camping. You know, like the festival didn't have any yurt, had no intentions of staying there forever or anything. And a neighbour, we were built like it was for a build of a festival, and this guy go over like out of like near. He told me where his house was. It wasn't far. It was the closest house to where we were. And he said something about like, he goes, what are you, he looked at me like, he was like, what are you doing like here? Like, and I was just like, oh, there's a festival going on. And he looked at me like some, I don't know, like that there's some evil hippie here to take over his land. It's like, did no one tell him there was a festival going on, or did he have no idea? But anyway, just like, I got a reaction off him for a music festival. Like, did you get any like, were people a bit shocked that someone came to Clare to set up a yurt and
I
live
mean,
here
there
forever?
was a bit of shock, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the particular area I'm in, because like in parts of East Clare, okay, there's a lot of off-gridders, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's that kind of community.
In Clare, yeah.
But I didn't want to be in the middle of that either.
Yeah, for
Because there's also a bit of,
Cliquiness and
there is,
snobbery
you know,
around it.
and I don't like that either. Like, and I feel like I don't fit in there either.
yeah.
I'm not quite sure where I fit, but
Yeah.
I like being around the farmers as well.
Yeah.
Whereabouts East Clare? Yeah.
So not far from Crusheen.
Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah, we were
Ballinruan
there.
is the name of the place.
We went down to Eddie Lenihan's
Eddie
house.
Lenihan.
So
lives
close to Eddie's, like,
Yeah,
you
Cool,
know?
yeah.
And there is just like where I am, a kind of somebody called it like bandit country one time.
Yeah,
you know, that
yeah.
Everybody's a bit mad there.
They definitely
whatever they are, if they're kind of
Yeah,
off the
yeah.
grid or if they're farmers, we're all a bit mad.
They're all a
So,
bit off the grid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, and like there was a tent on the land one time on the hill, you know, and the farmer when I moved in first, but I'm obviously in my yurt, but he thought for like months that I was living in this little red tent, you know, and he used to say, "Geez, you're a great girl, great girl in that tent by yourself, fair play to you." And I'm like, yeah, and it took me months to realise that he meant the little red tent, like,
hilarious.
Jesus.
yeah.
They're great.
What's the little red tent for?
Oh, it was just there, like somebody was camping,
Oh, right,
you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it was just there. But like, yeah, he was sure that I was actually living in it.
Any of the farmers want a wife or anything like that? Would you get that kind of crack? No?
For some land.
Oh yeah,
And get that land back off you.
yeah. There probably is. Like, I don't know. I'd say they'd love to know the goss. Yeah. Be like, what's your crack? They know my life story at this stage. Anyway, any that I've met. Because when I was out looking for my cat that went missing, like I was out, I'd get up at sunrise and I'd actually bring like a bottle of my pee so that I could make little trails
nice.
around the place if she'd find me. Like, you know, I
Yeah,
was thinking
yeah.
that's how she might find me. And then I'd walk around until like sunset. trying to find her. I did that for about a month, and it was like a mad pilgrimage. Do you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
getting to know the place, but then you'd meet all the locals as well, and
With your
I mean-
bottle of piss.
Yeah, like I know. I was like, if
Hi,
they
I'm
knew I
normal.
was fucking
Hi.
holding a bottle of piss, you know what I mean?
Just Lucasade sport.
And I mean, I'm sure they thought I was fucking mad, you know. Like, this lunatic still is walking around looking for a cat a month later, you
Looking
know?
for
Yeah.
looking for her cat.
Looking for a cat. But,
I have a Canadian cousin who used to have a water pistol with piss in it for.
God.
Yeah, I think it was fox's piss or something like that. I don't
Oh,
know
right.
what the hell,
That's
but it was something to do with hunting or something. I can't remember, but. Was he trapping something? I don't know the hell, but his sisters told me that when they were kids, the freezer used to be either full of piss or dead animals that he'd find or stuff. You know what I mean? For trekking
yeah,
all
like
that kind of thing.
because they will smell the pee. Like that was. I mean, I had a bag of cat litter like that she had used, you know, before she went missing, and then I'd have the pee, like, you know, and I was just making trails all over the place.
Yeah, it is actually smart. I've never heard of that, but like, yeah, it's just like that familiar scent. Like, yeah, it's just like.
And you said that you. Sorry, I didn't mean.
No, go on. It happens all
It's
the
just
time.
like I
Not
know,
new here.
I know. But I just wanted to get at him like before we finish.
No, you're
that,
okay. You're okay.
You had said about doing retreats and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, would that be on your land?
I would love to, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I always thought when I was going to move on, you know, in my head, the dream, oh yeah, I'll get some land and I'll set up a little healing center and do some retreats. And, you know, and I remember thinking, yeah, like you'll do it straight away. And then when I moved on there, it was like, no, like actually I have to be here alone. And the land, it was like the land was speaking to me, you know, it was like, no, don't bring on loads of animals yet. The whole place was rewilding, you know, and I think it was important for me to just be there alone first.
Yeah.
And without even bringing loads of animals on, because I didn't want all the little trees that were starting to grow, you know, to be eaten again. And
Yeah.
so now, yeah, I'd like to kind of start doing like little retreats.
Has it
but
rewilded?
nothing-
Is it completely kind of?
It's wild.
Oh, is it
there.
lovely?
It's beautiful, yeah. Like that was the thing when I saw that place. I was like, this is special because it is so wild compared to a lot of agricultural land you see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it would be nice. I'd like to do like a little retreat there and kind of like what I was saying, like sharing that about the elements and how we can, you know, become forces with the elements,
Yeah,
and the animals
yeah.
and listening to them and, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool. How do you have you started doing anything there already? Like, 'cause Santiago and all them, like, were they? Is that just friends?
Santiago and the two boys. Well, not the brothers, you know.
Yeah.
The Wolf brothers.
Yeah.
So yeah, they came down like one time for a weekend or just a night, and it's so great, like, because
Yeah.
I was just like, you know, it's great when people get the land like I do, because I'd be talking about it, and then I'm like, are people actually gonna get this place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did, and like, yeah, there's few people that have come down, and like me and Santiago met last summer, but we'd been in contact on Instagram, like, you know, and it was
Yeah.
it's kind of like, I know I'm gonna like this guy, and then we
Yeah.
became like best buddies.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's cool. Yeah, it'd be really cool to see stuff. I don't know, yeah, to do. I think, I don't know, it'd be cool to see more of like those retreats and stuff like that. I think there's often a real sort of pretentiousness around a lot
Yeah.
of them. And a lot of, you know, they're solely set up for monetization.
I hate that, you know, it's about
And-
sharing and
yeah.
stuff, isn't it?
And it's weird, and then maybe they didn't all start off like that as well, because, like, you know, like the thing we're talking about, like, it is ironic with like shamanism becoming capitalized, because, like, I reckon like that you see that stuff a lot with like healthy practices, and I do really believe that people like should
I know.
charge for things
The-
for their
the energy
if they want.
transference,
Exactly,
like,
and
yeah,
money
yeah,
can be
yeah.
a positive thing as well. It's not essentially like, I don't agree money's evil and all that. To me, isn't true. I think everything's sort of subject, like it's just what it is. But I think it's got to do with like it becoming it almost like, yeah. So someone might really enjoy shamanism, like, and then be like, okay, but I really want to do this and I want to make a living off it, which I think is all fine and stuff. But I think, yeah, when it gets into the realms, then like quickly out of nowhere, they don't even realize, and to this day, mightn't realize it, that the money has become the main focus.
Yeah,
you get
that's
that with
the danger. Like,
Yeah.
when
It's
it gets
become
bigger
like
and bigger.
packaged. It's when people are like, yeah, you know, like the same thing
Yeah.
with the health and well-being. It's like, can we make that into a package? Can you convert
Yeah,
that interest
yeah.
into a client? I'm like, fuck off. Like, that's not,
yeah.
I don't like that.
No, me neither. So I find that really hard, because even when I use the word retreat, I'm like, it's not even what I'm talking about. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like
Yeah.
a bit more than just coming around and sitting around the fire hanging out is what, you know, I want to do more than that. And I do want to share my own creation or
Yeah,
body
yeah.
of work or whatever.
Yeah.
But also don't want to be slotted into the classic retreats thing
Yeah,
that people
yeah.
do, you know? Because my whole thing, like I've done retreats over the years and workshops and what I just found was like, I just did so many workshops in my 30s and 20s. And then you just come away from them and you're not embodying any of that shit, like, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, sounds great for the weekend.
Yeah.
And then, unless it's something quite
Yeah.
special, you know what I mean? You just...
There's not much transference of things into real life, and this is the thing that I always have like
Yeah.
this barrier with, because so many people do so many of these things now, and the thing that everybody has is transferring it all to your everyday life.
That's the bit.
And that's always the thing. This is all of these courses, all of these ideas, all of these programs of study and everything are there, like tons and tons of them. But it is just that we still stuck with the problem of how do we get people to literally embody it and live those things to improve the quality of life. And that's the area that I'm always interested in.
Me too.
How
That
the fuck do you get people to
experiential
do
kind
that?
of like
Yeah.
embodiment, like
Because that's the bit that's
integration.
missing.
yeah.
I'm just thinking of a friend I have who keeps doing retreats, you know, to pick up women. Like
What?
Dude, this is a whole business now. It's a dating thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I totally
Yeah.
agree with you. Myself and Tracy were talking about this one night. It's like,
he was
that's
going, oh man, do
big.
it. Jeez, there were right ones down at this one.
Wait, what do you mean? What is it?
He goes on retreats to pick up women, like,
Yeah,
you know, I
it's
have
a
a friend.
Oh, he go like so they're not retreats on how to pick up.
No,
women.
no.
All right.
I was like,
He doesn't care what
There's a gap in
he
the
doesn't
market.
care what
Yeah,
the
there's
retreat is
definitely-
about. The
Yeah.
more out there it is, the
That
more
is
the more he's
mad.
into
You're
it.
going to get some hot spiritual chick.
Yeah,
hot yoga
pretty
chick.
much, yeah.
That's
Does
it.
that work?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Unfortunately, I would say to all those guys,
I'm
most of the
single, living in a field. You know what I mean? Like,
my experience, to me, those girls are the most attractive girls, and I can tell you now, they can read that shit, and it's never going to work. Like people who are so focused on themselves aren't going to be
Seems to be
like
working for him.
blinded by some
but
guy.
the thing
that-
is, there's them girls are like that too. Like,
Well, yeah,
these
if you
girls
get
are
like that,
packaged
in the-
like that
exact-
as well.
yeah,
That's-
yeah.
And he's kind of got loads of money as well, so he comes down looking the part,
yeah.
and it's kind of
that is mental.
But there's a whole role like that.
I think
people
he's
are
addicted
playing.
to
the
them.
conscious
Yeah.
That's
playboys
crazy.
or the conscious playgirls. Like it's both.
Yeah.
I've seen it, and I'm just so grossed out by it. And I'm like, where do you
Yeah.
meet a man in the middle, or what? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
he said, what was it, Tinder Swindler? He's watched that lately, and he thinks it's like a guidebook for
Jesus Christ.
But he was going, hey man, you should have seen it. Like your man was right good at it, and
Oh my god.
That Tinder swindler thing looks terrifying.
does, yeah.
I
yeah.
heard
It's
about
fucked
it
up.
recently.
Terrifying.
It's fucked
It
up.
is,
That's
but he,
mental.
It's on Netflix, is it?
Yeah. We'll be sending Netflix an invoice for that promotion. They're getting invoiced. Yeah, sure. I think we finish up now. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? My trusty co-host who
want to
loves
talk-
I
talking.
think I've asked every question I can about the toilet. So I think I'm done.
It's always like a good topic, though.
Yeah.
Peas and peas.
I know there's loads as well. Like it was actually I wasn't what?
I just wanted to ask our viewers to think about this, but there's a lot of energy in shit, and how can you harvest it? Like, you know, apart from, okay, so you've gas, you've heat.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
energy.
Bullshit.
What?
Okay, that kind of energy.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
So and a bit of your spirit as well, spiritual energy.
Bit of your DNA.
Yeah, but I would think that there must be a way of harvesting shit
Oh,
properly.
you're actually saying shit. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You mean apart
Harvesting
from
shit.
composting it
Yeah,
down and...
apart from compost, can you like? There's so much energy in it. Like there must be,
Yeah.
mustn't there?
Wow, yeah. Wow.
There is.
So
Yeah.
there's a thought for the day.
It's used in North Korea as a fuel source.
Is it okay?
That's
Wow.
mad.
You just burn it, is it?
Oh, well, I don't know. I've never been to North Korea because it's a
Wonder
dictatorship where I probably they wouldn't let me out again. If I
Wonder
went.
what it would smell like.
You don't know, yeah.
Not really.
We let our viewers. Hugh wants our viewers to do some science
Yeah,
experiments.
experiments on what's the best way of
Yeah.
harvesting shit? Oh, and
And releasing energy from it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
If you harvest it, you just shovel it out the toilet or whatever receptacle you choose to put it into, surely.
Yeah, possibly. I know there is somebody talking about generating electricity from sewer pipes. That there is somebody's developed something like that. So I don't know.
I think that's quite smart.
Yeah.
As long as it's just going into the pipe. It's not.
So there's a thought for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of ongoing. We'll always do
It's
it.
good.
So
Yeah,
we'll use it for energy.
Yeah, exactly. It's always going to exist.
When the whole economy collapses, we'll
Yeah.
always have our shit.
shit,
you know?
Yeah, exactly. We'll always have that shit. Yeah. On that like very viscerally important note, should we finish up? Yeah. Hey, thanks for coming on. It was actually really interesting to go that much into the Yurt and stuff. I kind of that was only going to be a part of it, but it was really cool to, hear that perspective because like, and to hear someone in Ireland like I don't know living like that because it's cool and very
you
humbling.
do it genuinely from the and like do you know
Yeah.
like you're not just doing it
Yeah.
as a temporary thing for the experience of it or because
Yeah,
you
because
could
this
like
is nearly my
like,
third year in the Yurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like
And
it's
it's
really genuine.
It's cool for
Yeah,
people to
it is.
hear that as well because like like many people might whatever their lives go on they might want to do that, but like hearing about people living like that close, you can nearly live that experience like vicariously. You can like learn from it. So it's appreciate you sharing
Because
it.
that's
And-
also why I'd like to do a little like retreat or whatever, just
Yeah.
a small group, and for them as well to be in the Yurt, like over like a weekend where the weather is wild. If we can, just to actually experience that,
like
as
the
well.
practical side of it and stuff like that.
Because
I think
people
that's
do
really
glorify
cool.
it a bit too, and
Yeah.
it seems like a really romantic kind of.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? It's fucking
Yeah.
tough, like as well. Like
Yeah.
it is. It's not for everyone and all
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
it's good to experience.
Do you think this is you? Like, do you feel like this is me now? And I'm happy
like
out.
I do want to make a little round cob house. Like that's kind of my
cool.
next.
What's a
step.
cob house?
It's kind
Kind
of
of made out
little
of shit.
It's
The
a
house
what?
made out of shit.
Oh right,
Wouldn't
cool.
you know?
Yeah, like
But,
muddle and
I
wad.
don't like mud and
I
horse
studied.
shit.
I studied cob in
Did you?
England. Yeah.
No
And
way.
built cob walls and all that
Did
shit.
you?
Yeah,
Oh, you have to come and help me.
I will.
That's mad.
Yeah, because I
That's
do plan
cool.
on over the summer having little work weekends and gatherings of kind of
It's shit
work.
and straw, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're loving our shit.
What a
But I
shitty
will miss-
episode.
I will
Shittest
miss the
podcast.
Yurt. Yeah,
Go
I'm
back
in
to
no
Ireland,
rush to leave
shittest
the
podcast.
Yurt,
I'd love
really.
to help you do that.
Yeah, awesome, because I have half of the house already, so I just.
Although I could be sued, couldn't I? But anyway.
Why?
Oh, just complicated shit.
Is that
It is.
'cause you're
It
chartered? Is that because you're chartered?
Yeah.
Or, like you build houses that shit up.
Yeah,
Damn them.
can't do art, but it's just an art project.
Yeah, I'll help
maybe.
you with your art project.
Yeah, it's not a house.
Yeah.
You're not going to live there. It's just an art project.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I need all the helpers I can
Yeah.
get right now, so
Yeah.
put that out there as well. By the way,
Yeah,
I'll be
comment
helping-
below if
yeah.
you want to either sort out Hugh's energy crisis issue around the world, global problem.
Or help me
you
have
would
land over the next few months, yeah.
help build the art project, not a house. Thanks to everyone for watching and subscribing. If you have subscribed, if you haven't subscribed, thank you for
You're
existing anyway.
Yeah.
And if you can press the subscribe button, that would be brilliant. What were you going to say? What the fuck?
He said nothing.
No, what were you going to
You
say?
haven't subscribed.
What did you say?
Nothing.
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe. Just subscribe. Right. Thanks for watching and thanks for coming on.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
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 a million.
Bye-bye.
That was
Bye.
good.
Thanks.
I love the taste of strawberry medicine as it runs down my neck. I feel it draw me in, and when it settles on my mind, just know you'll find me there inside.